Okay, so today we're going deep on something pretty wild.
Yeah.
A presidential pardon for Puff Daddy?
Puff Daddy pardon?
From Donald Trump.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting one to dig into.
You sent over some excerpts about it. And,
yeah.
You don't see music and politics and presidential pardons all mixed up like this every day.
Yeah. I think when you first hear it, it sounds kind of crazy. But
yeah.
Then when you start to look into it a little bit, you're like, huh, maybe this isn't that crazy.
Exactly. And one of the things that stood out to me right away was this connection between Trump and Puff Daddy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both New York guys.
Yeah.
They've run in some of the same circles for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's actually a really important detail, right? Because we see so often with Trump that his pardon decisions are influenced by personal connections, right?
Right.
He pardons people he knows. He pardons people that his allies support. He pardons, celebrities who he thinks are interesting or whatever.
Well, and there was even that whole thing about them partying together on Jeffrey Epstein's island.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Although I think it's really important to say here that, there's no evidence to support that.
Yeah, we gotta separate fact from fiction.
Yeah.
But even putting that aside, you look at Trump's history with pardons, and it's not typical.
Technical.
He's used his pardon power in ways that have really
surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, remember when he pardoned Joe Arpaio?
Oh, yeah.
That sheriff who was known for his really controversial immigration enforcement tactics?
Yeah, I mean, that was...
huge uproar over that.
That was a huge deal. It really felt like a signal about his priorities, right? And who he considered to be worthy of a second chance.
Yeah. Exactly.
And, that was just one example. I mean, he's pardoned people who have been convicted of fraud, corruption, obstruction of justice.
Obstruction of justice.
It really suggests that legal arguments
aren't always the deciding factor, Fran.
It's so interesting. It's almost like he sees these pardons as a way to just kind of flex his power, to reward loyalty or to make a statement I can do this. Yeah. So how does all of this relate to Puff Daddy?
Well, let's say hypothetically Puff Daddy needs a pardon, right?
Yeah.
Do we see any parallels in Trump's past decisions that could hint at how he might handle this?
Okay.
What kinds of legal situations have we seen him use his pardon power for before?
That's a great question. And we have to remember that, public opinion matters too, right?
Public opinion.
Would people even support a pardon for Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
Or would they just see this as another example of Trump playing favorites?
Yeah, and I think public opinion definitely plays a role, although I think it's debatable how big of a role.
Right.
Because we've seen Trump go against popular opinion a lot, especially when it comes to issues or individuals he feels really strongly about.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too bothered by what the polls are saying all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
But there's also another layer to this too, which is the political landscape.
Yeah.
Things are always changing. And that could really have an impact on a decision on a pardon, couldn't it?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the current political climate is always something that the president has to take into account when they're making decisions. So, yeah, we can't really ignore that.
Yeah. It's really fascinating. It's this mix of, their personal connections.
Yeah.
And Trump's history of these unconventional pardons.
Mm-hmm.
And then you throw in public opinion and the political landscape.
Yeah.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it really is.
It is.
So I guess the question for everyone listening is, knowing all of this, do you think a pardon for Puff Daddy is likely?
Oh.
And if so, what message do you think that would send?
Wow.
What would that tell us about Trump, about the power of fame, and about how presidential pardons really work?
That's a great question to leave everyone with. It really makes you think about power and celebrity and justice.
All coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild stuff.
It is wild.
Thanks.
Yeah.
For this deep dive, I've learned a lot.
Me too.
Today.
Always learning.
Always learning. Okay.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.